Happy name day to all Antonios today. We have an altar boy with the name of Antonio. And I also asked Father Costa to commemorate my grandfather from my mother's side, Antonios. And we have a brother in Australia, Andoni, whom I visited last year this time. Father Costa already spoke about the life of St. Anthony in a wonderful sermon this morning. So I will take a few minutes to speak about the gospel and about the great miracle of Christ cleansing the 10 lepers who were outside of this little town that Christ was passing by with his disciples. Leprosy was a terrible disease. Once someone was diagnosed with this disease, they were quarantined immediately for the rest of their lives. They left their children, their families, their loved ones, and they were placed outside of the towns, of the cities, and they were not permitted to come near anyone. And if they would see anybody approaching by law, they had to call out, "We are unclean, don't come near." This was the life of these pitiful people. And Christ, who gave the authority to his apostles early on to go out and cleanse all maladies, he also gave them the authority to cleanse lepers as well. And he did a few miracles cleansing people with leprosy. Early on in the Gospels, he cleansed an individual leper who, I don't know why, but this leper was in a city, and he went straight up to Christ and asked him, "If you want to, you can make me clean." And Christ says, "I want to make you clean and be cleansed." And he touched him, which was not permitted. So Christ here defied the law of Leviticus, the law of Moses. He touched this person who was infected with leprosy and made him clean immediately. And the leper worshipped him and he said, "Lord, if you want to, you can make me clean." These 10 lepers, however, according to St. Gregory Palamas, they were not as faithful because they did not acknowledge him as Lord, but they simply said, "Epistata," Master, have mercy on us. They didn't specifically ask to be cleansed. So Christ told these people, "Go to the priests, show yourselves to the priests, and you will become well." He didn't heal them at that moment. He didn't say to them, "Okay, you're healed, but go and show yourselves to the priests." And this was to increase their faith. This was a test of faith. Someone could have said, "But wait a second, we're not healed. How can we go? It's not permitted for us to walk near people with this disease." They believed, and on their way, they were healed. And then every one of them needed to go to their individual priest, not to one priest. They need to go to the village that they came from and show themselves to their individual priest. And the priest had the knowledge to know if they were cleansed or not and give them a certificate that they are, from now on, they would be able to live with other people and no more social distancing. So while they were cleansed on their way, in their immeasurable joy and great gladness, they became so excited, they all forgot about the most important thing, to go back and give thanks to the one who made them well. And this is so true. When we have a lot of joy in our life, when everything's going well, in our times of happiness, it's very easy to forget God. It's very easy to go about our business and try to do well in this life. And that's why Isaiah says, "Lord, in affliction we have remembered you." And this is exactly what happened. When the lepers were ill, they were constantly thinking about this prophet or this individual who makes people well, because they heard from people who were passing by, "Hey, we heard Christ made other people well like you who were lepers. Perhaps he could also make you well." So they had this hope. But now in their great joy, they forgot Christ. All 9 of them, all those who were Jews. But one person who was a Samaritan did not forget to go back. Before he went to show himself to the priest, before he went to see his family, and that's understandable. A lot of these people hadn't seen their families for many, many years, their children, their relatives. They've been away from them for many, many years. So you can imagine how excited they were. And it's somewhat understandable that they forgot to go back and give thanks. But not to this Samaritan. This Samaritan, before he would go to see his family, he wanted to go back and thank this person who at this point we're not sure if he really believed he was God or not, but he knew that he was a prophet, he was perhaps the Messiah. But he went back to thank him, and he went back and he did a full prostration in front of Christ, and he worshiped him. And Christ asked his disciples and this leper, did the other 9 not become well? Then where are they? Where did they go? Only this foreigner, this Samaritan came to say thanks? And then Christ said something very important, which I would like to devote a few minutes on because it's probably the most important part of this pericope. He says, go on your way, your faith has made you well. No, that's a wrong translation, Father Costa. And we need to change these things when we see these mistakes in the gospel. In the English language, it's wrong. He said, not your faith has made you well, but your faith has saved you. Ipistisu sesokese. The faith of the other 9 made them well, but it didn't save them. Because salvation is not just the health of the body, but the health of the soul primarily. So the other 9, they were made well, but this one was saved. He was saved because he strengthened his faith. He fulfilled his faith. He completed his faith by making it organic. There's a difference between a beginning infantile faith, which we all have, and we all bring to church, but then we lose this faith when we walk out of this church from Monday to Sunday. We don't have an organic relationship with the one that we just commune here. We don't have this organic relationship all through the week. If we don't have this organic relationship, then we are like that little branch that gets broken, it becomes wither, dries up, and then comes back to church again. So we carry ourselves from back to church if we don't have this organic faith of this 10th leper, the Samaritan. So this is what he had. He had organikipisti, organic faith, and he went back to develop a relationship with Christ. It wasn't just enough to be healed and have good health and live well, thank you very much. Now we're going to go back to our families and our business. But he was seeking an organic faith with Christ. And this is the organic faith that saved him, saved his body and his soul. So we hope and pray that as we come to church, we continue to bring this organic relationship, this organic faith with us as best as we can through the entire week, because we sin daily, and sin is symbolic of leprosy. And this is why they needed to go to the priest, because leprosy in the Old Testament also prefigured sin, according to the fathers, is leprosy. Whenever we sin, and we sin plenty, we go, we restore our faith, we become well, we become reconnected, and then again, as connected members of Christ, as organic members of Christ, we come to church and we receive Holy Communion so we can stay forever organically connected with Christ. Amen.